Welcome to the quick start tutorial to Embryo Machine, a tactical board game from Lying Wing. A game of Embryo Machine plays from 2 to 6 players ages 12 and up and plays around 15 minutes per player. In this game, you control a titanic artificial humanoid known as an Embryo Machine. You'll go up against an opposing team using a unique card deck to plot combat, maneuver, and defend. Defeat your opponents or be the least damaged unit after 10 rounds. Here's how the game is set up. First, let's create the battlefield. You can set up one or both boards. If you use both boards, use the map joint board between them. Then add the 2 map bar boards on either side in the appropriate slots for both single and double boards. Next, the players will be divided into teams. For 2 players, each player will play against the other. For 4 or 6 player games, players are divided into even numbered teams. A 3-team game can also be made with 6 players. Give out the appropriate team tokens. Players on the same team will be given matching tokens. The number of each token represents the player's initiative. For games with 3 to 6 players, the players may play a free-for-all match. The same tokens are still assigned, but the colors have no significance. Now the players will choose the Embryo Machine, in which there are 2 versions. If you're new to the game, use the basic version using Embryo Machine units and cards with B rank weapons that have the circle symbol. If playing the advanced version of the game, use units and cards with A rank weapons and that have the diamond symbol. Each player, starting with the player with the lowest token, selects a unit board, assembles their stand, and create their deck. Gather the cards of the chosen unit that matches the versions decided for the game. With your chosen unit, place the board in front of you and place your team token on the indicated circle. Check to see if your unit's cards have any add-on cards and place them on the add-on area of your board. Shuffle the remaining cards to form your deck. With each player's unit decided and board set up, each player, starting with the lowest token in order, will place their unit on one of the starting point spaces on the board that has this symbol. Teams can place their units on the same side of the map. Place the rest of the components in reach of all players. Finally, set the round track to round 1 and you're ready to play. Your team is defeated when there are 3 or less cards in your hole on your board, or if you do not have any more attacking cards remaining. If your team defeats at least half of the units of the other team, then you win the game. Or at the end of 10 turns and your team has the least number of cards destroyed, then you win the game. Each round in Embryo Machine is divided into 4 phases: the draw phase, plotting phase, action phase, and cleanup phase. In the draw phase, each player will draw cards from their deck up to the number of their evade value on their unit board. Do note that the evade may be lowered during the game, and when it does, the player must discard cards. Shuffle your discard pile to form a new deck if it's ever empty. In the plotting phase, each player at the same time selects and places a card from their hand on the first segment and the second segment on their board. Each player must select 2 cards. If a player only has 1 card in their hand, then they may place it on either the first or second segment. Any aim cards can only be played on the first segment area. Players on the same team may not discuss strategy or reveal cards to their teammates. The action phase is where cards are revealed and activated. There are 2 segments and 4 timings that depend on what type of card is in what segment. Cards in the first segment are activated, then the cards in the second segment. During each timing of a segment, players reveal their cards that matches the current timing. There are 4 timings: move timing, shooting timing, combat timing, and special timing where charge, mine, aim, armor, and other cards are revealed. So if during the first segment move timing, the player who placed a move card in the first segment will reveal their card. The unit initiative found on the unit board determines the order in which the cards revealed are resolved from highest to lowest. If units have the same initiative, the number of the team tokens order is resolved from highest to lowest. During the move timing, the order resolves by value of the movement from highest to lowest. During move timing, move cards are revealed and resolved. It costs one movement to move onto the next space and movement is done orthogonally. After movement, choose your unit's face direction. Units cannot move onto a square with another unit, nor end on the same starting square. When resolving movements, the player must use all their movement value unless unable to do so. A unit can only move up to its maximum listed on its board. Terrain such as trees, rubble, sandy soil, and water increases movement cost by 1. Elevation will cost a unit more movement points when moving onto it. Calculate the difference between one square to the next, then add 1 for a normal movement cost and if the square is a terrain. A normal square is 0, so the cost for a unit moving on a 1 square to a 2 square will be 2. The difference between of the square is 1 plus 1 for the movement cost. Next, shooting timing cards are revealed followed by combat timing cards. In order for a unit to attack a target, both units must be in line of sight. The line of sight is assumed by a line drawn from the center of both the unit square to the other's unit square. Any square that is higher between both units blocks line of sight. Attacks can only be made to a unit in front of a unit and its sides, but no attack to any squares behind. Weapon cards will have a range a unit can attack from counting a number of squares away. Spaces are counted like movements orthogonally. Both elevation and terrain don't affect range. There are 3 types of ranges. Constant range with plain numbers mainly used in combat attacks. Variable range A has circled numbers and can hit targets out of its range but takes a penalty of 1 reduced damage for each square out of range. Variable range B has black highlighted numbers and can also hit targets out of its range but takes a penalty of 2 reduced damage for each square out of range. When a weapon is in range, it hits and deals damage, either shooting damage or combat damage. When dealing combat damage, 1 card from the defender's deck is destroyed for each damage received and moved to the destroyed area. When dealing shooting damage, the target chooses which of the unit's cards is destroyed. This can be from cards in their hand, plotting cards, add-on cards, and their deck. Shooting damage is reduced by 1 if the target is on tree spaces. The target may play armor to reduce damage from their hand, revealed and already revealed cards. Armor cards played from a target's hand prevents shooting damage. Armor cards played from the target's plotting area prevent shooting and combat damage. Energy weapon cards is reduced by 1 when a target is on a water space. If a weapon card is destroyed, an ammo explosion check is made. First, a number of cards are revealed on top of the target's deck. If any have a bomb icon, those cards are destroyed as well. Revealed cards are placed into the discard pile. Any cards with an explosion check destroyed this way don't go off. Units are checked to see if they are defeated after each timer phase. Each player counts their cards that are not in the destroyed area. This includes their hand, deck, discard, plotting cards, and add-on area. If it's less than 3, then the unit is defeated. In a case where there are no longer any cards for a unit to deal any damage from cards not in the destroyed area, then that unit is also defeated. Defeated units are removed from the map and players check to see if a victory condition has been reached. All remaining cards of a segment are revealed during special timing. When resolving, charged cards go first, then mine, then aim, then any other activated cards. When resolving a charge card, move the unit its facing direction its move value, counting any terrain and elevation squares. Stop movement before a square occupied by another unit. If there's a target in front of a unit, it makes a charge attack. Charge damage taken as combat damage is applied to the target, and the charging unit receives damage to the target's counter charge damage value. When resolving a mine card, the player places 2 mines and 2 dummy mines face down in the 8 squares around their units, occupying 2 squares. Mines cannot overlap each other, but can be placed overlapping previous place mines. A player may not place mines outside the map, but can occupy just 1 square. After timing, any unit on a mine square will suffer combat damage. Aim card can only be plotted on the first segment area. When resolving, first you may change the facing of your unit. Then if you plate a shooting card in the second segment to deal damage, the target unit's player reveals their hand and you have a choice to destroy cards from their hand, plotting area, add-on area, or deck. For a destroyed plotted card that isn't revealed, you may not look at it. If it's an armored card, the target player may activate it. In the cleanup phase, after all cards in the second segment have been resolved, players move all their cards from their hands and both segment plotting areas to the discard in any order. Finally, move the dial to the next round and begin another round. If this is the 10th round, the game is over and players check to see who's the winner. This concludes the quick start tutorial to Embryo Machine. For more information about this game and others, please visit lionwingpublishing.com. The Cardboard Stacker likes to thank Lionwing Publishing for sponsoring this video. If you like how to play videos and more, including reviews, previews, playthroughs, and more, give this video a like, subscribe to the Cardboard Stacker, and turn on that notification bell. I'm Ferdinand the Cardboard Stacker, reminding you to keep on stacking games.